Grace and peace, joy chasers. It's Dr. Naima Johnston-Bush from The Refreshing Life with Naima, where our goal is to help you to live a life of exuberant joy, powerful prayer, and sincere gratitude. And I am traveling. As many of you know, I'm in full-time ministry, and so I spend a lot of time, not nearly as much as I used to, but I still spend a lot of time in hotel rooms, and that is where I am right now. I'm in Covington, Louisiana on what's called a speaking circuit for Stonecroft Women's Ministries, which means that I will do a number of women's ministry events for Stonecroft International Ministries over a certain amount of days, over a certain amount of areas. So I started in Baton Rouge this morning, and tomorrow I will be in Covington, and then I'll be in Mandeville, then I'll be in New Orleans. It's a 4-day event, and then I'll be speaking to different women's luncheons, Christian Women's Connections they're called, their luncheons, and singing for them. And then I will head back home to Leesville, about 4 hours out. Now the great thing about that is that I get to go to Whole Foods. I've already been to Trader Joe's, got my little car packed up with my non-perishables that I can only get from Trader Joe's. You know, my everything seasoning and my garlic and my nuts. So I'll head out to Whole Foods on my way home. Anywho, if you want to hear more about what it means to live a life of exuberant joy, powerful prayer, and sincere gratitude, I ask that you would hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That'll let you know when I upload new videos. I upload new videos every Wednesday. And what do I talk about? I talk about music, ministry, marriage, and I also call myself an accidental lifestyle guru. So I talk about planning because I'm a planner junkie. I talk about vintage items because I love antiques, and I sell on Etsy. And I do these travel vlogs with my husband because we're always off and about. But ultimately, my passion is Jesus and talking about how to live a joyful life no matter what's going on. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, give me a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff, share, and yeah, definitely subscribe. So anyway, I just want to hop into the video today. Did you know October is National Infertility Awareness Month? I did not know that, but it is. And so I wanted to come on and tell you a little bit about my infertility story. I might cry a tear or two, but you know, one of the things that I've learned is that 1 in 4 women often struggle with getting pregnant or with infertility, or have lost a child, have suffered a miscarriage. That's a lot of people, and I am 1 in 4. I got married late in life. You know, I got married at 39, but I wasn't worried. I thought, by the time I'm 40, I'll be pregnant. And by the time I'm 42, I'll be pregnant with baby number 2. And then around 45, we'll adopt, because that was always part of our plan. My husband is adopted. And since I was a very little girl, little bitty girl, I wanted to adopt. And so that made perfect sense to us. And so we wanted to have, 3 or 4 children, 2 naturally and 2 that we adopted, brother and sister set, because, it's hard sometimes to place multiple children together, and we wanted to keep a sibling set together, maybe a little bit older. And that was our plan. And at 41, when I wasn't pregnant, I was a little concerned, but not overly concerned. And so, we started counting days and making dates and having our assignment times and taking temperatures and tracking on the app and doing all that stuff. And it just didn't happen. And we were at a point where I was just kind of like, I know the Lord is going to do it. I'm not going to worry about it. But as I got a little bit older, I began to feel the pressure, and it became difficult. It became real difficult. Sometimes, trying to put romance on a schedule is not a good thing for your marriage. And then I became stressed out. And then I got sick, and wound up in the hospital. Some of you know this story. Some of you, this is, the first time you're hearing this. But I wound up really sick one year. I think it was 2016, end of 2015. 2015, I can't even remember. But long story short, I was diagnosed with non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver, which means I have liver disease. My liver is scarred. But the devil is a liar and God is a healer, and we trust and we believe the report of the Lord. And I wound up losing a lot of weight, and I'm struggling in that area again right now. And I know it's because I'm feeling some pressure. But I have to remember that God is greater, but that's a whole nother video. Anyhow, so I wound up losing over 100 pounds, and I haven't gained 100 pounds back, but I've gained some weight back. And part of it is because we've moved and I felt the pressure. And I've struggled with food addiction too. That's a whole nother video as well. Maybe that's a video that I'll make, at a later date. My struggles with food addiction. But what wound up happening was when I got sick with liver disease, God was so faithful. He showed up in such a mighty way. Usually they give you 5 years to live if you don't make these changes, and you need to get on the liver transplant list. But my liver began to work. I got on this real strict protocol, diet and supplements, and my liver kicked back in. God is so faithful. I know he touched my liver and was like, work in Jesus' name. And my liver started to work. And so they switched my diagnosis to compensated liver disease, which means that my liver is working. And so, even though they switched the diagnosis, I was told that by my main doctor that, it probably was not a good idea for me to try to get pregnant, and that I probably wouldn't get pregnant because at that point in time, I was probably like 45. I'm 47 now. It's like, 45, it's not going to happen. And so I was like, I kept telling myself, because, Haley Berry had a baby at 47. And I kept telling myself, Haley Berry had a baby. She had type 2 diabetes. Or maybe she has type 1. I think type 1. She has type 1 diabetes. I know I got a baby at 47. But that was right before I got sick. And so then the doctor told me that. And then my gynecologist told me that, getting pregnant would not be a good idea because it could send my liver into liver failure. And not only that, she didn't think that I'd ever be able to carry a baby to term. And then my liver specialist said that it probably just wasn't going to happen, and that if I got pregnant, I would probably have a miscarriage. And I never went to a doctor when it happened twice. I never went to the doctor, but there were 2 particular times when I was extremely late. And I was so hopeful, just so hopeful. And then I wound up having the worst cramps and the worst, period of my life. And I can't tell you for sure that it was a miscarriage. I just can't tell you that. But sometimes you just know these things in your heart. So it's been a difficult road. It's been a difficult journey. And it's not at all what I expected or what I planned. Like I said, we thought, 40, 41, 43, that means we'll be, in our early 60s when we're getting them out of the house to, college. They'll be graduating from college and we'll be like 63. And we're not so old that, we're decrepit in our 70s and we're still young enough to, enjoy them. And, but it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. And what do you do with that? What do you do with that when you want to live a life of exuberant joy and powerful prayer and sincere gratitude, and it feels like God is not answering? What do you do with that? I'll tell you what you do with that. You have to say, in my pain and in my grief, God knows best. I don't understand it. Doesn't make any sense. I watch the news and it always seems like some parent is killing their child. I mean, it's a desperate situation out there now. I mean, throwing children off of buildings and drowning them, and and when you're tuned to that, I think you see it a lot more. And so that doesn't make any sense to me. I wrote a song about it. Want to hear it? Go like this. Some of y'all know that joke, but I did write a song about it called She Laughed, and that I did a whole, worship note video on it. But I wanted to come on basically this October and share my heart, because I know that I'm not alone. 1 in 4 is a lot of people. And I know some of you are crying, and some of you are mourning, and some of you are angry, and some of you are bitter, and some of you are questioning God. And I guess a couple of things that I would say to you, a couple of things that give me peace is, it's okay to mourn, and it's okay to still have faith. I still have faith. Miracles still happen. Sarah was real old. Miracles still happen. And when I get to a point where sometimes I feel like I can't believe, then I pray, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. And if God chooses not to open the door that way for a miracle for me, then I choose to bless his name anyway, because all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And I don't know how this is good. I don't know how it's working together for me, but I choose joy. I choose joy. And so, 1, accept that, there'll always be a little bit of grief, and that's okay. 2, God has a plan, and it's greater than anything you could ever understand. You may never understand it on this side of heaven, but eventually you will understand it, and it'll make perfect sense. 3, God is not a liar. He never leaves us and never forsake us. Sometimes he says no to our prayers, but he never leaves us and he never forsakes us, and he walks us through the valley. And 4, I choose. I get to choose if I'm stuck in a corner, broken and crying and whining, or I get to celebrate and laugh and love and trust that God is on my side and live my life joyfully, borrow other people's children, and trust that, the adoption process will work out according to God's perfect plan, and he'll work that out too. So I always say, by birth or selection, my promise will come. And so, I just wanted to, I don't know if this even made any sense, but I wanted to just come on and encourage the 1 in 4. And if you know the 1 in 4, which you probably do, just want to give you a couple of words of advice. 1, please don't tell people who are struggling with infertility or the loss of a child, like through miscarriage. Please don't tell them, oh, you're a mother to so many people. No. It doesn't help. It doesn't make you feel any better, especially if you have children. I get that a lot on Mother's Day. I just wanted to wish you happy Mother's Day. I know you don't have any children, but you're like a mom to so many people. They have a mother. You can be a spiritual mother, a spiritual mentor to people, but that is not the time or the place to say something like that. And I know you mean well, but it doesn't help. Don't say anything, or, if you feel like you have to say something, say, how can I pray for you this week? Don't assume that it's difficult for everybody. People don't always, mourn. Some people, do what they do. They over it, I guess. I'm not, and I don't want to hear that. So please don't say that, 2, don't ask people who are married and have been married for a while they don't have children, or when y'all gonna have some children. Don't ask them that. You don't know what the situation is. You don't know what the circumstance is. And you might be asking them their greatest pain. Just by saying, when y'all gonna have, people say that to me all the time. When y'all gonna have some children? You know what? I have to smile. When God says so, I decided, next person who say something to me like that, I'm be like, the doctor said, this is what the doctor said, but I know what the Lord said. So why don't you take that up in prayer? So don't ask people that. If they bring it up, then be a listening ear, but don't ask people that. And be understanding. That's the third thing I would say. If you don't have problems having a baby and come April Fool's Day, don't put that up. Don't put, oh, I'm pregnant and it's a joke. Because for some people, it's painful. And if you've already been blessed with children, why is that a joke? It's not a joke. It's just not a joke. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. It's quite possible. But maybe I'm not. If you really love somebody, you don't want to hurt them. So understand that. Understand that sometimes we need to back up. We are feeling joy for you. If you are pregnant, don't be afraid to tell us. Oh, I didn't want to tell you. Don't ask us how we feel about it. Just tell us. If we need the space, we'll back up. And it has nothing to do with you. We're excited for you. We are glad for you. We are so thankful for you, and we're going to pray for you. But sometimes we need a moment. Not because we're mad at you or angry at you or even jealous of you. It's more of a, why not me, Lord? It's just some truth. Today I did this luncheon. I did the first luncheon in Baton Rouge, and this precious, precious lady came up to me. She said, oh, I remember when you were here back in 2015, because the way the Stonecroft circuits work, you go to a place every couple of years, and you can go back after so many years have passed. So the last time I was in Baton Rouge was 2015. If you're interested if you're in women's ministry and you want to learn about speaking for Stonecroft, feel free to ask me. I'll be more than happy to share information with you. But she said, I've been praying for you every day. I don't know if she said every day or every week. I've been praying for you, to have a baby. Because I guess the last time I was there, I had asked for prayer. They asked me if there was something that they could pray for me for, and I probably said, that we would have a baby, because for a while there, before I got sick, I was really asking people to pray. And she said, I've been praying for you diligently that you would have a baby. She hasn't said every day or every week. She said, and so I was like, oh, thank you. That meant the world to me. And she said, well, have you had a baby? And I wasn't offended, because she had been diligently praying. I said, no. And I explained to her what the doctor had said. And then I said, but don't give up praying. He still works wonders. He's still a God of miracles. And then I said, by birth of selection, my promise will come. I'll be a little bit older than I thought. I'll be looking more like, almost 70, getting a baby off to college. But, God has a plan, and so I'm going to rest in that. And so this October, for National Infertility Awareness Month, please keep in mind 1 in 4 women are struggling with infertility or have had a miscarriage. And it's somebody you know if it isn't you. And so take some time and shoot up some prayers. Send some love and watch what you say. I know you mean well, but watch what you say. It's kind of a heavy video. I don't usually do heavy videos. But every now and then, I have to remember that weeping endures for a night, but joy comes in the morning. So, on that note, and I'm probably in my feelings because I don't usually travel by myself, so I'm here without my husband and my dogs, and so I'm like, oh. Anywho, let me tell y'all what I'm about to do. I shared that with you, and I'm about to take my wig off and lay down somewhere. No, first I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk for half an hour because I ate some cookies, and then I'm gonna take my wig off. When I'm gonna take my wig off, then I'm gonna walk, and I'm gonna lay down. So anyway, I love you guys, and if you have any comments or questions, I don't mind answering them, so feel free to leave the comments below. If you're looking for a speaker or a singer for your women's ministry church service, I'd love to be of service. So shoot me a message. Join us on Facebook in the Refreshing Life group where we are learning to live a life of exuberant joy, powerful prayer, and sincere gratitude right in the center of God's will, which is the safest place to be, even when we don't understand it. And I hope this blessed you and encouraged you. And share it with someone you know who maybe it'll bless. So I think that's about it. Love you guys, and I'll holla at you later. Deuces.